Snapchat Daily, and I have Andy here, whom I hope you remember from exactly a year ago, because he shared his top tips and tricks with Snapchat Daily readers when he talked about top tools that professional Snapchatters use to shoot their stories. And if you have not, surprisingly, in that case, heard about Andy, he's a vertical filmmaker and storyteller. He has been Snapchatting every single day in 2017. If you ever saw his snaps, you will remember them because they're very different to everything you see on Snapchat. They're very artistic and cinematic. And it's not really a huge surprise that Andy was nominated for the Snapchatter of the Year by Shorty Awards, and congratulations on that. I hope you'll win. And today, Andy and I are going to be talking about the obvious things that everyone wanted to know and to talk about when it comes to Snapchat redesign, creator analytics, and Andy's learnings from having such a massive year on Snapchat. So Andy, welcome, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me again. It's so exciting to be back and talking Snapchat again with you. Yeah, it's crazy like what has happened in a year, I guess, since we last talked.
Yeah, definitely.
A bit of a crazy one.
What was the biggest highlight of your year on Snapchat?
Ooh, of 2017?
Yeah.
Probably, talk at VidCon about Snapchat. And actually in the same, let's put this in the same bubble here, on the same day, fly out to Australia to attend VidCon and then to speak about Snapchat. And in the same day, I did my first meetup in Australia. And I haven't done a meetup anywhere else in the world.
Right.
I don't know why I picked Australia, but a bunch of people turned up. So it was crazy to see people who watch my stories in real life, then go to an event and talk about Snapchat, like an event like VidCon. So that was kind of like a very high point of 2017. But there was so many. It was so good. But that's one that definitely stands out.
Yeah. And so you were nominated for being Snapchatter of the Year by Shorty Awards. Like, how did that happen? Because I remember you were sharing your story last year when you were like, you went to New York, and you're like, I want to be, seen on that massive digital wall at NASDAQ. And you were there like a couple of months later. So how did the Shorty Awards nomination happen? Yeah,
it was a bit of a shock, kind of like the NASDAQ thing in Times Square. I knew about the Shorty Awards last year. I was following it religiously, looking at the people who were up for it last year, like Women in Tech, Anya Kopian, M. Placco, like all these amazing people. So I was watching that and I was so proud and happy that I had all these friends who were nominated. And in my head, I was thinking maybe one day like that would be cool to be nominated. I didn't think it would be this year. Mm-hmm. And then like January, I just received an email in my inbox on there and it's like, you've been nominated. Like I didn't put myself forward or anything. It just came in and I was like, what? Which was very exciting, very humbling. But it's really nice to know that like like an academy like the Shorty Awards appreciate the work you're doing and see what you're doing on social media, especially next to some of the huge names who are up in that category as well.
Yeah.
I'm definitely probably like the smallest person next to like Chrissy Teigen and all these amazing creators. So it's really cool to be up there for like the work I make. So still very surreal.
Yeah, and talking about influencers, so there was at the time during the past year or two when influencers and creators were skeptical about Snapchat, and some of them made public statements about leaving the platform and moving to Instagram stories, or Instagram for that sake. What is your, like, where do you stand on being like staying on Snapchat, leaving Snapchat, and like from the position of, from your position as an influencer and a creator?
Yeah, so I mean, there is this people are always like, are you Snapchat or are you Instagram? And like, Instagram has a bunch of amazing features. They have a bigger team dedicated to it so they can roll out things quicker. They have discoverability. Like, I love Instagram stories, it's incredible. But Snapchat, I still feel the audience engagement I always found was so much better for me. It's where I started. It's where I still have my biggest audience. So I'm always pushing on Snapchat still. So for the last year, Snapchat was really where I was going in hard, and I built up a good audience there, and and it still has all these people.
And I think you froze a little bit, at least on my side. So let's hope it will catch up quickly.
Yeah.
The internet connection is unstable, although we're both on Wi-Fi. That's what happens in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco. Sometimes I'm like, why? You're in the center of innovation and Wi-Fi can be bad, but you're back on. So you were saying, you were talking about, how you create stories on Snapchat and how this platform is still different and you build your own following. How different is it from your following on Instagram stories?
Drastically different. Snapchat is still my biggest platform. I think a lot of people like what I post on Snapchat because it feels very right there in the moment. That's all you can see when you go on there, just my stories. You're not saturated by other people's feed. And I think a big part of how I engage with people is I'm sending messages and replying to everyone and sending video messages so people know that they can be right there in the moment with me.
Right.
2018, I am dedicating to pushing more on Instagram, doing a few things on there, trying to share bigger projects, more long-term things. So an aim is to kind of not necessarily move people over to Instagram, but show them that I'm going to be doing stuff on Instagram as well as Snapchat. For example, I was in I took a trip recently to Helsinki, and the way I used both platforms was I was making daily stories on Snapchat, which is what I'm known for, these like 2 to 3 minute videos every single day that I was editing then. And then Instagram, I put up a story, like a 3-minute story, like a week or two later, like encompassing everything as like a summary. So I'm trying to use them both, but not necessarily always doing the same thing.
So going forward, do you plan to also kind of differentiate the way you create for Snapchat and for Instagram stories?
I think so. Last year was posting every single day, but I'm still trying to keep the quality up. And if I had a bad day, I'd be like, okay, well, I need to make it even better tomorrow. 2018 is more about quality over quantity. So Instagram, I'm trying to push on my bigger projects. I'm using a lot of drones, a lot more cameras, a lot of voiceover work. Snapchat, I kind of had a formula of shooting every single day. I wouldn't post something if it wasn't part of my story. Now I'm having a bit more fun with it, and playing around with the like what I can do with it. So trying to use them both, but quality over quantity for sure.
Got it. And you recently got verified on Snapchat, which I'm sure a lot of people would die for, and you got your own little icon. Is that right? And how did that happen? And I think you froze again. Oh my God. It's a good quality frozen shot, but yeah. So I'll ask you this question again. So you recently got verified on on Snapchat. How did that happen, and what icon do you have? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that happened soon after the Shorty Awards. I think it was kind of all the same sort of timing. I think Snapchat saw that there was creators up for these Shorty Awards, so they kind of reached out, and we had a conversation about it to see if it's something I wanted. And yeah, you get an emoji next to your name basically. Yeah. So I have the film emoji. If you search that, I come up. I'm also I can be discovered in people's feed now, so I can pop up even if I'm not, even if you're not following me, you can see my stuff. If you like it, you can subscribe. So that's been that's really cool to have in there, and it's encouraging to know that Snapchat are now verifying creators rather than just celebrities or people of interest on Snapchat, which kind of was what they were doing. So it's nice to see that they're now appreciating the people who create on that platform, and they're giving them verification. So I see it as I don't feel like any different. I think it's really cool, but I see it more as it's like a step forward for the creators.
Yeah.
On Snapchat.
And on that note, so Snapchat also introduced Snapchat Creator Analytics. So what was your experience with that? And has the exposure to the new audiences helped you get more views and understand your audience better with the analytics?
Yeah, so the analytics kicked in kind of around the same time I got the new update. So, which we'll get into in a bit, I'm sure. So I had very mixed feelings, and then I got an email from Snapchat saying I was about to get these analytics, which again, I very much appreciated. And they came and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I can now see how many views I'm getting on a story, like how many views monthly, yearly, my audience, where they are in the world. So that's really interesting. I'm still getting to grips with how it works because the numbers fluctuate quite a lot. Like I see like monthly views and then number will drop or it'll go up like a day later or so. And it fluctuates between where most of my users like live and stuff, but it's a great start. And I think if there's brands really pushing on Snapchat now, this is something they've wanted for a long time. And it's kind of cool to see what interests people are into and stuff. So most of mine are pretty on point. They are photographers, they enjoy travel, or they like music, which are kind of things I cover. But then there's also a lot of cricket fans, apparently. So maybe I need to cover some cricket games.
Surprising. Exactly. So talking about Snapchat redesign that you mentioned and the way you are now, your stories are appearing on Snapchat. So for those who have not gotten the update yet or cannot get their head around, so Snapchat totally redesigned the way you see this and where the stories are placed. So Andy, who's a creator, is now verified. Like your stories are appearing in the publisher feed on the right side of the main screen. And according to what is available, the information is available about the mechanics and how stories appear in that feed. It depends on the algorithm, and Snapchat is constantly testing stuff. So I guess that might explain the fluctuation in your audience. In terms of the overall redesign and how the stories are seen now and where, what is your opinion? Like, because a lot of users slammed redesign on social. However, if we all think about Facebook newsfeed redesign years ago, there was a massive backlash, and then like now no one remembers about it because it just grows on you.
Definitely. I'm very on the fence about it at the moment. I made a video about it when I came out, and I think I was leaning more to really enjoying it, and I can see the benefits in it. I like, so it's kind of weird for me. So I kind of look at it as a creator and as someone viewing. So majority of the time, I'm not viewing content on Snapchat. I'm posting it, and then I'm on it all day doing that and replying to people. I'm not really consuming a lot. But what I have noticed is when I'm replying to messages, sometimes I lose them in my chat or random stories will appear. And I'm kind of like, why am I being shown these? And then on the Discover page for me, it's a lot of popular stories for people I follow back, but they're not necessarily people who I want to see. So that's a little confusing, but I hear they're in a beta at the moment. The people who are in beta have a new design that they're tweaking it so you can view just stories and just chat. They've
added this subscription tab on the in the publisher, so you can actually see. I don't know if you guys see, but basically you have this tab on the left which says subscriptions. So those are people you just subscribe to, and then in all you can see everything, and then they programmatically show like whatever is interesting to you. And again, for those who don't want to kind of customize it, you can also like press and hold, and you can see if you're subscribed to that person, if you want like see less like it. That way you're teaching algorithm like what things you'd like and don't like.
So I'm on the fence with it, but on the side of being a verified creator, I love that I can now be discovered by all these new people, which is incredible. So view-wise, I've noticed quite a big jump in like maybe the first 5 snaps are getting quite a lot more traction. But then because of the algorithm and how it's not chronological now, and I don't always appear in people's feeds, the completion rate is either lower or it takes a lot longer to get to the final number. So an issue, if I snap, I'm like, hey guys, where should I go next? Or what are your opinions on this? Normally I would get messages in like straight away. It's taking like an hour or two or three to come in. Just coming in slower. But I think they are, I think it's going to roll out, like you said, people are going to get more used to it. It's going to calm down. And hopefully with these new tabs, that's going to be really good. And it's like people are going to calm down with it, and it should. I'm hoping it's going to be fine.
And do you feel like Snapchat is working with creators more? At least, like, I see the introduction of analytics as the step towards that. And what is would you like them to actually collaborate with creators on product features and stuff?
I would love them to. I'm pretty sure that is where they're moving next. It feels like giving us analytics, verifying, starting to verify creators. I think they want to kind of understand what we want on the platform, how we think it works, and work together just to make the platform like a better place to be, like kind of what YouTube have done. So I see them going that way, so I'm excited to see what they do next. I just hope they kind of do this in the next few months. I hope we had the update, and we got the text update, and then we got the analytics. So they were coming in quite quickly. So I'm hoping we get something. Hopefully by the summer we hear about some sort of creator program, or if they're going to monetize accounts.
And they did mention that in some of the announcements. So like hinted.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard that. They've hinted it. So hopefully by summer 2018 we have those things. I think they need to kind of act fast, to not necessarily because because the update was getting a bit of backlash, and Instagram stories is just so good and it's there. I think you need to kind of have something ready to be like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is a reason to stay and be using this platform. So hopefully we get that soon.
And when it comes to being a creator, do you think it's not too late for some talented folks out there who want to try to do what you do, maybe not exactly in the same format, but maybe they can find their own style? Like, what would be your top piece of advice for anyone who wants to become that creator on Snapchat?
I think it might be even a better time now, because with this new update, there is potential to be discovered. It's slowly coming in. People can subscribe. It's easier to like share people's accounts. You have all these swipe up links. So I'd say go for it. Like, I would love to find a bunch of new creators. There's kind of a circle of the Snapchat creators, like everyone talks about, what everyone knows. And I would love to find some fresh new content where people are just making some stuff. So I'm always excited to see where people are taking, especially now that you have lenses, you can play around with lenses, all the AR features they're bringing in. I know Cyrene Q is doing some great stuff with that. So if there was someone who was amazing at coding, or like could build all these lenses, and they wanted to come in and start making these insane stories with it, that would be incredible, because you don't get that on any other platform. So I feel like there is a space to be making unique content on Snapchat.
Yeah, totally. And for brands, because a lot of people who are watching us right now are people who represent different companies. So what would be one piece of advice for them when it comes to working with creators and influencers on Snapchat? Because there are a lot of, discussions about influencer marketing on other platforms. What would be your number one learning and kind of suggestion for the brands?
Really letting the creator or the influencer have reign, or take charge on what they're doing. They know the platform, they understand their audience and what's going to work best. And obviously setting a goal like your ROI and all the goals you want to achieve, because you now have analytics, so you can see all of that. But we're in like a world now where like brands are having to make this short form content that's engaging, that is different, that stands out, and all the ads you get on Snapchat that you can skip, any other platform, people aren't watching them, paying attention to them. And the reason you want to work with a creator and influencers, because one, they have the audience, two, they're being creative with what they're doing. Yeah. So allowing them the freedom to do it, especially if you're a brand just jumping into that field, that can seem very scary, saying, oh, why are we letting this person like promote their product in this way? That's not how we do it. But their audience is going to react best to how they do it. So having faith in the influencer you pick or work with, that's what I mean, all the brands that I've worked with, or they've come to me because they like the way I produce my content.
Yeah.
So there is the understanding of the quality of the work they're going to get, and the trust that I'm going to make something with them. Obviously, you go through processes of clarifying it with them, storyboards, making sure it's all right. But letting them have the freedom to be them is like key. And it sounds kind of like, sometimes like people are like, well, that's obvious. But a lot of brands are kind of like, oh, we're really stuck to our like how to push this product. But it's key.
Totally. Okay, I think we've covered most topics that would be of interest and like hot topics right now. As the last question, what is your kind of one thing that you think about Snapchat future as a company that excites you, or kind of you have concerns about? What do you think about the future of Snapchat?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in a phase where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, because Snapchat are quite a secretive company. You have all these other platforms rolling out stories, the controversy or not with the updates. So it's like, what's going on? But I think that my biggest thing that I'm excited for is what it sounds like they're doing with creators. Mm-hmm. They've always, in like, let's say 2016, they were always ahead of the game with every update they put out, all the new features they had, all the lenses they keep coming out with. On that side, they're incredible. So I think if they can get a great creator program on board, and there is some discoverability for everyone, I think that's quite key in Snapchat that people would love to see, and I think it'll be really beneficial. I think they can do so much, especially now that you can link out on certain people's stories, right? So you can watch a story out of Snapchat. Yeah. So it's exciting to see what they're doing. It seems like they're moving fast. So I think they could drop something really big in the next year that would get people very excited.
Thank you. And for those who are still a little bit skeptical about Snapchat, and if you are representing a brand, then, a recent report showed that actually Snapchat is making money, and, ads is a massive business and has a huge potential. So I suggest that we all stay tuned on the programs that Snapchat has for creators and the way they work with brands, because I personally think it's going to be the year of business connected to creators, because they kind of come together as means of marketing. And when you watch the video till the end, that's awesome. And then in the comments to this video, I will share a link to Andy's previous interview where he shared top tools that professional creators use. And just go to snapchatdaily.com and check out all the case studies, creator interviews, and also lots of other different tips and tricks on Snapchat for business. Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. We're in different time zones. I'm in San Francisco, you're in London, and I'm glad we're connected and you shared your thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.